Ladies and gentlemen, there is NFL football on our TVs right now. If you are watching live as the Buffalo Bills lead the LA Rams 7-0, I'm excited. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, however you want to call it. Happy NFL kickoff day. And in a few days, the Dallas Cowboys will be on a playing field as well when they host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a Sunday night football showdown. And tonight's episode is the last one that we have on prime time. Of course, you can still catch Skywalker still tomorrow morning. Then you get the game day show. But I am excited because that means that we are getting a preview show. We're going to talk about the Cowboys offense, about the Cowboys defense. We'll get a final prediction in. And if you guys have been following primetime for a while now, you also know that we make a weekly bet on the Cowboys bet. So on the Cowboys game. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about having you with me tonight. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm even I'm agitated because I had to run up the stairs to get to you live after that interception by the Buffalo Bills. What is up, everyone? Let me shout out some people here in the Facebook chat. We've got Kenneth Fraser. We've got Gregory as well on YouTube. Says, Toxic Tom says, Mo looking like it was a pick day at school. Well, you got to suit up for the NFL kickoff. Although I will tell you, I'm just realizing this wasn't the color to wear this week, was it? I hope I don't jinx anybody. What's up, Gregory? We've got, who else do we have here? We have Lumen as well on the YouTube chat saying third on the like button. Do me a favor and hit the like button yourself because that is the biggest way you can help out the show. That puts the Cowboys, this show in front of more Cowboys fans. Lunatic says, anybody tell you remind them of a young Sol de Mexico? Lunatic, that's definitely a compliment that I don't want to accept because that's a very high bar. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Sol de Mexico, Luis Miguel, is pretty much our Elvis Presley / I don't know, like just the GOAT maybe in Mexican music history. Anyways, Tito Rodriguez says, Mo, you are missing a total turnover fest right now. Tito, who do you think you're talking to, man? A shout out to Tito. He is a huge Broncos fan. I appreciate him being here, but of course I'm not missing it. I appreciate every one of you who gets primetime on their phone or their tablet or whatever it is, and makes me a companion for your Thursday night football experience. I appreciate that. Great game right now, by the way. Great game. But anyways, now that more of us are here, let's get ready to start this show officially. So without any further ado, here we go. What is up, everyone? Welcome into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way throughout the entire season. Make sure you check out adcsports.com/Dallas. And as always, Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. You can check out the ride of the week on the website, and we will talk more about it later on the show as well. Welcome. Tonight, we will preview the Cowboys Week 1 game versus the Tampa Bay Bucs. We'll talk about the offense. We'll talk about the defense. We'll make a weekly bet, as we usually do here on Primetime, and we'll get a final prediction in. Shout out to Alex Rose. Alex, I do apologize, man. You have a point. Definitely. Let me try to find that comment really quick. I completely lost it. Here it goes. Alex Rose says, change the shirt and we are good. I apologize. I publicly do. I didn't think about it. But hey, at least it's not like scarlet red like the Tampa Bay Bucs. So we'll ignore it. We'll say that it's just me celebrating. Red is a color of passion. So I am just passionately celebrating the fact that football is back. We'll go with that storyline, and we will completely ignore the color of my shirt for the rest of the show. I do apologize, though. Nicholas says that shirt screams Julio Jones. Man, I do apologize. Toxic Tom says, not going to lie. If we lose to Tom Brady for maybe the last time, I am going to be pissed. Let's talk about this game. I have some notes on the offense. I have some defensive notes as well. And we'll get into the predictions as well towards the end of the show while the Buffalo Bills continue to march down the field versus the LA Rams. My question from me to you guys, in order to get this show started, my question from me to you guys is, who do you think will win in the trenches when the Cowboys get in the trenches versus the Tampa Bay Bucs? The Cowboys offense or the Buccaneers defense? Who are you taking on that matchup? Dallas, of course, is coming into this game banged up. Tyler Smith will start at left tackle. Connor McGovern is getting the start at left guard. And then Tyler Viadish, Zach Martin, a future Hall of Famer, and Terrence Steele are going to square off against the likes of Shaquille Barrett, Vita Vea, Akeem Hicks, even Logan Hall, the rookie, will be a factor in this game. Who do you think wins that battle? Toxic Tom says Bucs defense. I'm sorry. Lunatic says, it seems we forget we got D-Law also, says Lunatic. Oh, we'll talk about the Cowboys defense in a little bit here. But first, we'll focus on the Cowboys offense versus the Buccaneers defense. Who wins that outcome, in your opinion? Nicholas says, I'm a realist. Unfortunately, Bucs defense. And I got to say, I'm going to agree there. I think that's a battle that the Buccaneers will win. We'll get into the defensive side of things. But before we do that, let's talk about that matchup. The Cowboys, being realist, as you guys mentioned in the chat, the Cowboys are going to face some issues. At the end of the day, the Buccaneers were the team with the second highest pressure rate in the NFL. They blitz a lot, which is relevant as Dak Prescott has always been highly efficient versus the blitz, and it's bound to be a part of this story on Sunday night. But my biggest question when it comes to this whole conversation is, all right, we know the Cowboys offensive line is going to get bit in several plays. That's just football. That's how it works. And you got to give Tampa Bay that credit. They've got a pretty decent front seven in there. That being said, if you're the Cowboys, how do you go about overcoming that? And a lot of us immediately think about the running game. Jerry Jones has been on the radio on 105.3 The Fan talking about leaning on Ezekiel Elliott and all of that. But I do wonder if it will be more about executing in the quick game versus just running the football. Because at the end of the day, the Buccaneers can win that battle as well, right? In the trenches. They can allow you, they can keep you from opening up those holes and just opening up those gaps for Ezekiel Elliott. Knowing that, I would like to see, personally, a lot of quick game for the Cowboys offense from Kellen Moore, just trying to get rid of the football as quickly as you can, hitch routes, attacking the middle of the field, as we discussed with Evan Winter on Tuesday night when he joined the show to talk about the Buccaneers' biggest weakness on defense. He mentioned that middle of the field could be an issue for Tampa Bay, especially as they blitz a lot, and if you start attacking that middle of the field, they're going to force them to stop doing so. And once they do, you need to force them to rush the quarterback with 4 players. And believe it or not, the Bucs struggled to do so in 2021 with Vita Vea and Shaquille Barrett and all of those guys. When they were not blitzing, they were not getting to the quarterback. So if you're the Cowboys, a priority is attacking that middle of the field and keeping Todd Bowles' defense from blitzing you at all. Lunatic says, as your guest said 2 nights ago, our tight ends attacking the middle of the field. That is perhaps the biggest key to this game on the offensive side of things on Sunday night. I think that was tremendous insight from Evan Winter. I do agree with him. Looking at the numbers, it all checks out. The Buccaneers blitz at a 40% rate, more or less. They had a 28% pressure rate as well last year. So if you keep them from doing their thing, you're definitely on the right track. Toxic Tom says, Kellen couldn't get it done with a loaded offense. Now it's thin and hurt. Why would he do better with less? Explain that logic. I think, Toxic Tom, although I agree with you that this is definitely not a loaded offense for Dallas, and it's definitely one that took a step back in comparison to last year, I would say that number one, okay, We know what happened in the playoffs and all of that. We know that in the second half, the Cowboys were, declining in offensive production. But as I've said before, Kellen Moore has had a top 5 offense in efficiency when he's counted with Dak Prescott. That's not me defending Kellen Moore and saying that we should not have questions about Kellen Moore, because we definitely should. But this is me saying maybe there's also a biased hate versus Kellen Moore. That's what I'm trying to say. You can be biased in a good way and in a bad way. And I think that Cowboys Nation has Kellen Moore in a lower level than maybe we should. I think it's about finding that middle ground. And Kellen Moore is still an offensive coordinator that has a lot of positives in the play design department, in the play calling department, even though there are a lot of things that he needs to work on. That being said, why would he do better with less? That will come down to Dak Prescott, honestly. I truly believe that, because the Cowboys have a lesser group of wide receivers. They have a lesser group of offensive linemen. So if there's one way to elevate that offense, is just quarterback play. Is that fair? No. Does that mean that the front office shouldn't have signed any wide receiver, any offensive lineman? No. But hey, this is the strategy that they executed in the offseason, quote unquote strategy. And as such, all that's left is Dak Prescott putting together an amazing offense, right? Gregory says, Mo, that's not the trenches. Oh, I know. But, this is sort of like a jazz. We're putting attention to the comments from you guys. Kenneth says, I got confidence in the Cowboys, though. Nicholas says, 12 personnel, extra blockers with the tight ends. And I agree. The Cowboys will need to add numbers to the pass protection scheme. When it comes to running the football, though, I also give the advantage to the Bucs defense over the Cowboys offense. And it will be something to monitor how insistent the Cowboys are on running that football. Because Jerry Jones has been on the radio talking about leaning heavily on Zeke. Will they, but actions speak louder than words. Will they live up to that quote-unquote promise? Or will they have this game similar to last year, in which Dak Prescott ended up passing the ball 58 times? We'll see. I'm very intrigued about this Cowboys offense. I'm going to be looking at how much they use 12 personnel, how much they do so in early downs versus late downs. Alex Rose hits the nail in the head, and we talked about this about a week or two ago. I think it was a week ago. I'm guessing the Cowboys will throw even more screen passes, especially in early downs. We got frustrated with Kellen Moore calling those screens, but he did so in third down at a top 10 rate in the NFL, top 5 actually. In early downs, though, they were near the bottom of the league in terms of pass rate usage. I think Dallas's offense will beat Tampa Bay defense, just not in the trenches, says Gregory. And that's a perfect transition for what's next. Do you think the Cowboys pass catchers will emerge victorious on Sunday night? Let me know in the chat. Are you taking the Cowboys wide receivers / tight ends, or are you taking the Bucs secondary in this battle? Let me know in the chat. And while you do so, and before I give you my answer, let me talk to you about our friends over at freemanmazda.net, because the ride of the week is the CX-9 Grand Touring. And let me talk to you about its features. It's got an all-wheel drive feature, third row sitting, rear air conditioning, sunroof, heated leather memory power sitting on the CX-9 Grand Touring, and of course, a miles per gallon capacity of 20 in the city. That goes up to 26 when you are in the highway. Make sure you check out the Freeman Mazda CX-9 Grand Touring in the website, freemanmazda.net. And as always, remember that when you choose Freeman Mazda, you are choosing a lifelong partnership with your car dealer. So make sure you check that out once more. That is freemanmazda.net. So who are you taking? Are you taking the Cowboys pass catchers, or are you taking the Buccaneers secondary? Early answers favor the Cowboys. Gregory goes with Dallas. Kenneth Fraser says Dallas for sure. Toxic Tom says Bucs. I trust Bowles more than Moore with scheming. I will tell you what, I'm going with the Cowboys. And I know beyond CeeDee Lamb, There are no experienced wide receivers on this team. But I think that CeeDee Lamb is up for the challenge. I think that he will actually fulfill his objective of becoming a top tier number one wide receiver on the team. And you know what I think of as evidence? Last year's game versus the Tampa Bay Bucs. Now, granted, Amari Cooper was also in that game. He helped dictate coverages and all of that. But CeeDee Lamb was already a known threat by the time the Cowboys and the Bucs squared off against each other last year. CeeDee Lamb was targeted 15 times. He had 7 catches for 104 yards. He had 2 drops, and that's, of course, an issue. He lined up everywhere, though. 56% of the time he was lined out wide. 41% of the time he was lined up in the slot. I'm expecting the Cowboys to get Lamb in the slot consistently throughout this game. Even if it's not at a 60% clip, even if you get CeeDee Lamb in the same role that you did last year and you get him inside in 40% of the plays, I think you can get a lot of production out of him. Once more, we talked about them attacking the middle of the field. I think that they will also do it with CeeDee Lamb. He was targeted at an 11.7 average depth of target. So when Dak Prescott looked for CeeDee Lamb, he was doing so down the field as well. He was not just checking it down to him or anything like that. I think that CeeDee has what it takes. He can do everything. You look at the tape and you can see CeeDee Lamb do, the full route tree, but also you can get him to do damage after the catch. You can get a little bit of everything from CeeDee Lamb. And I think that will show on Sunday night. But then beyond him, you get the tight ends attacking that middle of the field. And I think that even guys like Jalen Tolbert and Noah Brown could get several opportunities to do some damage, just based on how much the Tampa Bay Bucs will be focused on CD and on Dalton Schultz. I think this is a battle that they do win. I think that the Bucs secondary has had issues, and it's definitely one of the weak spots of this team. And I think that the Cowboys will be able to exploit that. I think this is what will keep them in the game, offensively speaking. But in order for this to happen, one thing that I want is for them to really, really exploit quick game elements on Sunday night. And in theory, if we want to get all theoretical about offense, the quick game can actually be this sort of alternative to the run game. And I know that the Cowboys are not likely to think that way. But if you want to attack underneath, the quick game can be a replacement more than a complement to the run game. And I would focus on that with a shaky offensive line like the Cowboys rather than in just pounding the football with Ezekiel Elliott. Because in order to do that successfully, guess what? You also need an offensive line that can win its matchups. I'm not saying the Dallas will absolutely suck at up front, but I'm saying I would like to see a lot of quick game involved on Sunday night. Having said that, another thing that I want to see is the Cowboys running 12 personnel, which we know it's going to happen, but I want them to pass the football out of 12 personnel. After Blake Jarwin's injury, they pretty much abandoned that in 2021. Jake Ferguson is looking good, but he is inexperienced, and I don't want to see a Cowboys team that is afraid to throw the football out of those packages. Hopefully they are willing to do so and they trust the 4th-round rookie. It will take a lot of trust, though, to pull that off. Toxic Tom's the same guy who played a running back with a torn knee over Tony Pollard. Yeah, I'm not banking on that guy, says Toxic Tom. And I don't hate that, because if you ask me who has the edge coaching-wise on this game, I would definitely say that the Bucs do. So I understand that for sure. Toxic Tom says, Mo, so if the offense comes out this week and looks like it does last year, will Kellen take the blame or Mike? Last year versus the Bucs or last year for the full season? I don't know what you meant with that. I'm guessing that, over the second half of the year. I will say, though, forget about where Cowboys Nation points the finger to, because every time that you see something negative a lot of fans will say that it was Mike McCarthy's fault, and when something positive happens, they probably will say that it's Kellen Moore. But forget about it. They're both in it, right? So, Kellen Moore installs the offense. Kellen Moore calls the offense, and as such, he should get the majority of praise/hate. But at the end of the day, McCarthy also plays a role in it. So I think it's both. Mostly Kellen, though, because he is the offensive coordinator and he is the play caller. Stephen White says, I need to make more money. I can't even watch the NFL and think I'm moving to a cave, says Stephen White. I think our coaches, says D Shift, are pretty formidable. What was the Bucs head coach record his last stop? Well, Dan Quinn is in a pretty good spot as a defensive coordinator. I think that Kellen Moore is being underrated by fans, but I will admit, was that a touchdown from Cooper Kupp? That was a touchdown from Cooper Kupp. My local sportsbook had a boosted odds of plus 300. So, hey, that's definitely good news. Anyways, and I can hear the shouting from my brother in the other room because he made the same bet. There you go. Anyways, I think Kellen Moore is a little bit of a question mark. Mike McCarthy is one of the coaches that are in the hot seat. He has one of the hottest seats in the entire NFL. So I don't want to sound like it's a slight on the Cowboys, but I do think that Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles have an edge over these coaching staff. I don't remember the exact record for Todd Bowles in his last stop. Couldn't have been positive, though. I'm sure of that. But anyways, let's see. Kupp with a touchdown for the Rams, says Kenneth Fraser. Appreciate the update. Jets do not count, says Lunatic. That's like a place where talent Twilight Zone, says Lunatic. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's a good description of what happens in New York. But hey, we'll see what happens. The facts are the Cowboys have had one of the most efficient offenses in the NFL with Kellen Moore. That's not the do-all, end-all. I'm not acting like it is. But I think we've gotten to the point in which Kellen Moore is overly hated by the Cowboys fan base overall. I'm not saying that everyone, but a lot of people do hate Kellen Moore more than they should, probably. Anyways, moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Man, oh man, how about this pass chart from Tom Brady? Tom Brady last year had 10 completions behind the line of scrimmage, and he was 9 for 17 in 10-plus air yard attempts. This is the pass chart from Next Gen Stats. I do love these charts because they tell you a lot about what any quarterback does or running back or wide receiver. But I find this very interesting because I think that the Cowboys have a talented group of cornerbacks. They ended up with one of the highest marks in the NFL. You had Trevon Diggs as the highest graded press cornerback in the NFL. Anthony Brown is one of the best cover corners in the NFL last year. So it's a solid group. There's one thing that they need to shine on, though, on Sunday night, and that is just tackling, fundamentals. 10 completions for Tom Brady last year behind the line of scrimmage versus the Cowboys. You can accept those. There's no problem with those as long as you are getting the tackles, as long as you're not missing them and allowing the opponent to get those yards after contact. But also, the Cowboys allowed a lot of big plays last year. We all know that. We all have had that conversation. Can you keep the Bucs and can you keep Tom Brady from those deep throws? Because they have some trouble at the offensive line, as we have discussed this week as well. The Bucs have inexperience at left guard and at center. That's a huge question mark for them. How are you going to exploit that? How are you going to attack those A/B gaps? Are you going to trust your defensive tackles, who will look way different from last year? You will get probably a way better version of Osa. You will get way more Quinton Bohanna. You will get a healthier Neville Gallimore, who's going to start week 1, as opposed to what happened last year. But also, how much are you going to blitz? The Cowboys were among the most aggressive teams when it came to blitzing in 2021 as well. So how much are you going to turn up the heat for Tom Brady? And when you do, are you going to focus on that inside, or are you going to go through the edges where Tristan Wirfs is banked up, where Micah Parsons shines the most because he can use his best trait, which is speed? I'm looking forward to seeing that. Having said that, though, I will say that I expect the Cowboys to win in the trenches. Just like we talked about the Buccaneers on the other side of things, I think the Cowboys win that battle up front, defensively speaking. Now, that is Tom Brady, though, on the other side of the ball. And we talk a lot about Tom Brady being affected by inside pressure and all of that. But there is a reason why we hear that about him, about Josh Allen, about Aaron Rodgers, and some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Because everyone struggles with inside pressure. So when you talk about the very few things that can get to some of the best quarterbacks in the league, that's like the biggest one, because everyone struggles with inside pressure. That's the fastest path to the quarterback. And Brady knows how to get rid of that football quite quickly. So I know that the Cowboys will generate pressure. I know that they will get to Tom Brady. I just don't know if Brady will look like he did last year versus this secondary, because he was pretty impressive on that football game. Let's see some of your comments here. Gregory says, yes, you can. You jam all of the receivers at the line and blitz every play up the middle. I would love to see an aggressive game plan that attacks that A gap and that B gap from the Cowboys. And I know that Dan Quinn is not afraid to put some stand-up linebackers over that center and threaten with pressure every chance that he gets. He does that a lot. The Cowboys have a perfect duo to do so as well with Anthony Barr and Micah Parsons. I wonder if, from a matchup perspective, Anthony Barr gets way more reps than he would versus any other team. Anthony Barr might be on a fast track to playing time just based on his role as a pass rusher and based on that versatility that he can bring to the table for this game. Because if you can get Barr on the field, you can get a linebacker that specializes as a All right, I'm back. Oh man, that sucks. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with the internet. Just disappeared out of nowhere. And what sucks is I get the full signal according to my speed test really quick. But hey, that happens sometimes. We're back though. We are back. And what I was talking about though was about that inside pressure versus Tom Brady. And can you get the win even without even with Tom Brady getting rid of the football that quickly? All right. Lumen says blackout, really had to black out. There we go. All good now, says Kenneth Fraser. Looks like Mo didn't pay his internet bill, says Toxic Tom. I did, man. Sometimes it has these kind of weird picks in which it falls for like 5 seconds and then it comes back. But I am glad that we are back. Now, I was talking about Tom Brady, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that. We were talking about the blitzes and Anthony Barr. I remember now. We were talking about those blitzes with Anthony Barr, and I was talking about Leighton Vander Esch. Earlier this week, I said that Leighton Vander Esch is being underrated by the Cowboys fan base, just based on the fact that he is the one with the most experience right now for Dallas at linebacker, even above Anthony Barr, based on Dan Quinn's scheme and all of that. But if you want to exploit those inside gaps, Barr might get a fast track to playing time because of his specialty. Because Vander Esch doesn't specialize in getting after the quarterback. So even if Barr is not the true starter for this team, I know that I wonder if he gets way more playing time than he would versus any other opponent, just based on that. We'll see. We'll see. And in the running game, as for the running game for the Bucs, I said this before on the show earlier in the week as well. Will the Bucs be able to volley people at the point of attack in duo kind of concepts? Because the Tampa Bay Bucs and Byron Leftwich love to run duo, getting those double teams up front and letting Leonard Fournette do his thing and try to just blast through those open gaps. I don't know if they will be able to do so without Ryan Jensen, without Alex Capa. Now, I think that Alex Capa is, that Shaq Mason is an upgrade over Alex Capa, but you have to have some sort of chemistry in order to be so close to perfect as the Bucs were when running duo, because they were one of the best teams running duo in the entire NFL. Will it take time for them to gel in that aspect? And we will find out on Sunday night. Anyways, before I leave you tonight, and make sure you drop your predictions in the chat as well. Before I leave you, we do need to have this segment that we do every Thursday night from now on, and we will do so every Thursday night moving forward. Betting the Cowboys. Betting the Cowboys. We will have one weekly bet for you on this show. And this time, my one bet is none other than the boring one. I am going with the under 50.5. I think that this total is high based on what happened last year, 31-29. It was such a fun game, high scoring affair. I think this will be more of an ugly game, though. I think that the Bucs offense will struggle. I think that the Cowboys offense will struggle. And I think that it will be the defenses that become the main character of this game. I think that both defensive units will end up winning in the trenches. I think that both teams are going to be able to get some completions in, but if they do, I don't think it will be super explosive plays or anything like that. So I am leaning towards the under. That's my bet. We will keep track of these bets. Last year we had a positive record. It's difficult to do so. It's difficult to have a winning record using totals, using betting spreads and all of that, but we will do our best here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Now, as for the score prediction, and once more, I ask you to flood the chat with your score predictions, and I will get to most of them. Drop your final prediction for week 1. This is a tough one for me to pick. As you guys know, here on Primetime, we try to remain as objective as we can. So even though I will be rooting hard for the Cowboys on Sunday night, I always pick against them when I think they will lose. And this one is a tough one because I feel like it's a very close matchup. And I do think that the Cowboys have a chance at chalking the Bucs and beating them at their own home, of course, at the Cowboys' home. And when I know that there's a real chance, it's tough for me to go with the other team. However, in this case, I will give the very slight advantage to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that this will be a matchup in which both defenses will win. As I said, I'm going with the under. I think that will give Dak Prescott and the offense a lot of opportunities to come up with the win. I think both teams have shaky offensive lines, and I will slightly favor the one that has fewer question marks at the skill positions. The Bucs are coming into this game with Mike Evans Cameron Braid, who is no Rob Gronkowski, but still Cameron Braid is a huge piece of the Tampa Bay Bucs success. They have Chris Godwin, of course. Questionable to play, but still. Julio Jones, who is a red zone target that I'm looking forward to seeing how the Cowboys match up against them, how they deal with that. And it's just one question mark too many for me to pick the Cowboys in this game. But as I said, I will be rooting for the Cowboys as always, and I do think this is a very close one in which the Cowboys will get a chance, whether it comes in the fourth quarter, in the final drive of the game or not, or whether it's in the shape of getting one last stop versus Tom Brady, which didn't happen last year. I think that the Cowboys will have a chance. So I'm picking the Bucs very slightly. I'm going with sort of a 20-17 kind of scoreboard. We'll see what happens. Mo getting ready to pick the Bucs, says the Lunatic. King Element says Mo was wearing red. I knew it was over. No, the shirt was a mistake. And I hope, speaking of mistakes, I hope that I, get here on the show with you guys on Monday night and I regret my pick from Thursday. So we'll see. Gregory Boozme, he says traitor. Traitor. Yeah, I'm sorry. Lumen, though, says 28 Dallas, 31 Tampa Bay. He goes with the highest scoring affair. Toxic says, I'm not taking Dallas, especially when they play a good team. I would be broke if I did that. Gilbert says Cowboys 28, Bucs 21. I'm going with Dallas 27, Tampa Bay 21, says Kenneth. 24-17, says Gregory. So a lot of, low-scoring predictions in the comments. Mo is going to be wearing his orange shirt next Thursday. I assure you I will not. Not after tonight's mistake. Shouldn't have worn red. I admit that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for me tonight here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm sorry, I didn't want to pick the Bucs, but hey, we're going to try to remain as objective as we can. And if I truly believe that the Cowboys are going to lose the football game, we're going to go with them in the predictions. That doesn't mean, though, that I will be rooting for my prediction to be right. I will be rooting as hard as I can for it to be wrong, believe me. And as I said, if the Cowboys are to pull off this win, the path to victory is attacking the middle of the field on offense, forcing the Tampa Bay Bucs to stop blitzing, to get some pass rush with 4 players in. And on defense, it will be all about exploiting that A gap and that B gap on the left side, attacking that center and that left guard and making the most out of it. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if they make it happen. Anyways, before we go, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. You can check them out on their website, and the ride of the week, the CX-9 Grand Touring. Make sure you check it out. I will see you on Sunday night. You get Skywalker Seal tomorrow morning, so make sure you tune in. Check out the website as well, adzsports.com/Dallas, and you get the game day show on Sunday night. Skywalker Seal, Jesse Holly in the house. Make sure you check that out. And of course, do me a solid, hit the like button, share the stream, and hey, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, share it with your friends. See you and adiós. Hasta luego. Esperemos que los Cowboys ganen. Adiós.